It's now day 2 of our tour, and we'll be checking out of Sugar Business Hotel, which is such a dodgy name, and we'll be checking into the hospital. We'll be checking into the Arya Vaidya Sala Kochi branch because the main branch in Kottakkal didn't have any rooms available in this period of time. So, I've read good reviews about the Kochi branch, so we'll see how it goes. We're now driving down the streets of Kerala, and there's no lines on the road. There's just like 8 vehicles in one row, and everyone's honking all the time. But it's kind of nice. Mom says that the skies here are much clearer than in Mumbai. She said it felt like it was foggy all the time, but it was just smoke 24/7. So everything here is just so much more green and clearer. Yeah. And we have arrived. We had to take a lot of little small roads to get here, but we're finally here. And yeah, we'll have to be checking in very soon. Hospital just paid the advance, and we're heading to our room where apparently the doctors would come see us right after. I'll show you guys the room in a second, but this is the outpatient department. So this is where people who just drop in would come and see the doctors. It looks a bit like this. This is going to be my home for the next month. So this is the inside of the hospital. There's a cute little courtyard as well. Looks a bit like that. And we're in room 103, which I probably shouldn't put on the internet, but I'll probably upload this after I'm done with the treatment anyway. We've got the TV. And pretty normal toilet as well, with a bucket to bathe with. So very traditional style. And yeah.
So we checked into the hospital this morning. We were told that if we check in before 12 o'clock, we'll be able to commence treatment today. So we got here around 10ish, took an Uber from the Sugar Hotel, and had to sit in with admissions for a bit, and we had to pay 2 weeks worth of advance. It's not the cheapest treatment, but I wouldn't say it's expensive compared to Western medicine. You probably end up spending a very similar amount with Western medication. So it was about 2,900 rupees for my mum and me to share a room. Mum's got to pay for her food, which comes to about 300 rupees a day, and then you pay 3,400 rupees for treatment. So all up, it comes to about 6,600 ish, which is about 130 AUD a day, which I don't know if I can comment on whether or not that's worth it just yet. So we were brought to our room, this really cute little courtyard in the middle, and then we were brought into our living headquarters, shown our room for a bit. A nurse came in, checked my pulse and all that sort of thing, took in my wrote down my blood pressure, and then she told us that everyone was heading off for lunch, so we should probably head off for lunch as well. So we went downstairs for lunch. It was a standard, it's called the South Indian thali. So they just give you a silver plate and kind of just serve the food for you. So they had rice, they had chapati, and then they had a bunch of vegetables that I'm not sure of their names. But my mum was given a few additional things that I wasn't allowed to have, like pickle and a sweet, etc. So yeah, and then we had the lunch, which was actually alright, and then we came back upstairs, and there was a person living right next to it. The lady living right next door to us was sitting outside, so we were just small talking with her. It's really loud in the room because my mom's killing time. So yeah, so we small talk with the lady next door, and she was just telling us a few things here and there. Her husband came by after a while, so he introduced himself as well. They didn't look like the friendliest people, but they were quite nice. And then, she told us their names and stuff. So they were probably in their late 60s, probably early 70s even. But yeah, I came back to our room and we were just waiting on the doctor to come see me. Because apparently the doctor visits your room, which I think is pretty cool. And then that old guy came knocking on my door and he asked me if I'd eaten my lunch and told me that I could actually just get a room service, so just brought straight to my room and I don't necessarily have to go downstairs for it. And then I asked him what was up with him, and apparently he had a brain hemorrhage 8 years ago, and he was completely paralyzed on his left side, so he was unable to walk, unable to do anything pretty much, and he was wheelchair bound. And apparently he did Ayurvedic treatment for 7 to 8 months, and now he's like walking and stuff. I mean, he does have a walking stick, but he doesn't look like he's struggling to walk, which is really interesting for me because my uncle had a stroke, and he's completely lost ability to function with the right side of his body, so he's wheelchair bound in Australia in an aged care facility because apparently it can't be cured, blah blah blah. So he's just only 69 years old and just rotting away at the aged care center. So it was really interesting to see that this guy was pretty fine. But yeah, around about 3 o'clock, the doctor came into my room, sat on my mom's bed and was having a conversation with me. It didn't feel rushed. It was a pretty decent consult, and he had a look through my files and he had a look through like all the symptoms I'd written down. When I'm awake later, I'll just go through and show you guys like how I'd laid everything out. And then my mum was, pitching in with some things that I didn't realize were problems. So we had a conversation with him, and he told me that someone would come by later on to pick me up for my first treatment. But he said the only treatment I would go through today would just be an oil massage. So like he said, a lady came by later and she took me up to the massage room. It was just this plank of wood on a massage bed, and like it had the little mold for putting your head in, etc. So she asked me to bring a coin with me, and then when I went there was like a little bit of a prayer roomish thing set up. I think it might be a Hindu thing, like there was like I don't know the word for it, but it was like a gold I don't know, I might just put a picture of it in here later. But yes, it had like candles in it, so there was like fire lit up, and it was sitting on a silver plate, and in front of it was like a little bowl of blackish water. So she asked me to put the coin on the plate and then make a quick prayer, since it was my first time starting treatment. So I went ahead, just made a prayer, and then I sat down on the massage table, and the doctor comes in. She picks up that black water, and then she says a prayer for me, which I thought was kind of cute. And then she just kind of like dipped her finger in that black water and just sort of spread it like on my head and then my shoulders and my hands and stuff. And then she was like, yeah, these ladies will take care of you. So I had to strip down completely naked, which was quite confronting considering the fact that there were 3 ladies in the room. So I think they've got separate masseurs for ladies and separate for men, obviously. So then, I'm completely stripped down, and then they put this weird like thong-like thing down like where my underwear would normally be. But then they made me lie down on a plank and then just spread hot oil all over, and they were like massaging semi-vigorously. I wouldn't say it wasn't like painful, but it was definitely like a decent amount of energy put into it, and they were just massaging every single part of my body. So I was laying down like with my face like facing up, and they were all just talking Malayalam. I wouldn't say their English wasn't great, and their Tamil wasn't great either. So it wasn't, when I say it wasn't great, it's not me being like uppish about it or uppity about it, but it's more so that they cannot have a conversation, or if you said something like 6 years, like that is not something that they would understand. So it was a bit of a difficult conversation, but you know, I was there for the treatment. I'm not there for a conversation. So that's definitely not something that's concerning. I would say though, so everyone's been so super nice so far. It's really interesting. We took a lift up to our room, and there's like a switch for a fan in the lift. So as soon as you get in the fan, the guy just puts the fan, like as soon as you get in the lift, the guy just puts the fan on, which I'd never seen before. He is the caretaker, and I wouldn't necessarily say he had the friendliest face, but I mean, he did answer our questions. He wasn't really shutting us down or anything. He just didn't look very welcoming. He wasn't like smiling and any of that. Like, you know, there were like no introductions, awkward, no small talk in the lift, that sort of thing. My mom is really loud with her TV, but I feel bad. But yeah, and then so then they started massaging me all over, and and then they were like obviously having little gossip sessions as well. They were talking about me, obviously, and then every now and then they try to ask me a question, and all three of them, amongst the three of them, would try to translate what I was saying. So things like, you know, where do I live, what do I do, how old I am, why I'm here, etc. And yeah, so then that was pretty much it. They're really nice though. Then they started like wiping me clean, and they just got me to get all dressed up. And then I've come to my room now, and apparently that was a 1 hour massage, and now I need to lie down in bed for another hour on this sheet. Not sure of the significance. I have a feeling it's just because it's just so that the sheets don't smell of oil, because it's just oil all over me. Like, it's not the strongest scent, but I think after a while, like, it's gonna start to stain and stuff. Yeah. I mean, look, it's not the most pungent smell. I asked her what it was. She just said it was herbal oil. She wasn't really able to tell me what exactly it was. So yeah, I was told to take just a shower, but like not wash my hair with warm water after an hour. And yeah, and then apparently, like, so mum brought the tea upstairs, and apparently dinner's like a North Indian buffet, but we're thinking of just getting room service upstairs, so we kind of can't be bothered. So this is the view from the room. So it's the entrance of the hospital. Not the best representation with these ventilation nets, but I'll put up some pictures later. In terms of symptoms, like, I wouldn't really say this is my worst flare. I'm not feeling things really, really badly. Having said that, like, you know, just the usual, like, lump in your throat, finding, like, getting really full really quickly, so like a very small appetite, and, you know, upper tummy bloating, upper tummy pain, pelvic pain in the past couple of days. But, you know, again, that place that I call my appendix, I'm not really sure if that's exactly what it would be called. Like, that's been hurting as well. I would say muscular has been about 4 out of 10, but definitely there. In terms of muscular, you know, just like yesterday, we walked around Alapi for like a very short period of time, but then my thighs were really starting to hurt. And like today, it's just been like my shoulder, my neck, my arm, mostly like my right arm, just where my shoulder, just where my elbow falls. So just kind of there, and my legs. Sometimes you don't even realize that something's hurting until like they start massaging it, and you're like, why is it so sensitive over there? But yeah, and they've also apparently come in and given my medication. So it's just all of those, which I'm not sure how to take just yet. Actually, yeah, and my mum got me takeaway tea because I was in the massage while tea was happening. And then this thing, I don't know what it's called, but it's a bit savory, and it's a bit thick. Like, I like it, but I don't know. It's got like a potatoey filling, like mustardy sort of filling. Let me see if I can show you. So I've only eaten half of it because I don't know, I can't decide if I like it or don't. And also it's quite filling. It's like a weird dumpling-like thing. But there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll check in with you guys soon.